You have been feeling it. You might not have had the words for it. You might have dismissed it as wishful thinking or nervousness or just the kind of restless energy that comes and goes without meaning anything. But deep down, in a place that is quieter and more honest than your thoughts, you have been feeling something building, something gathering, something moving toward you with a weight and a certainty that your logic cannot explain, but your spirit cannot deny. That feeling is real, and I want to stay with that feeling for a moment, because most people rush past it. Most people feel it and then immediately try to rationalize it away. They tell themselves it is just anxiety, or wishful thinking, or the kind of hope that always precedes disappointment. And in the process of rationalizing, they dismiss the most important signal their spirit has been sending them in months. That feeling is not anxiety. Anxiety contracts. Anxiety makes the world feel smaller and more threatening. What you have been feeling does the opposite. It expands. It makes the world feel like it is on the edge of something, like the atmosphere is charged, like something invisible is moving into position, like the air itself knows something you do not know yet but are about to find out. That is not anxiety. That is anticipation. And your spirit does not feel anticipation about nothing. Your spirit feels anticipation when something real is coming. And something real is coming. Something that God has been preparing for a long time. Something that has been in motion behind the scenes, in the spiritual realm, in the invisible architecture of your destiny, long before any sign of it appeared in your natural life. And today, May 28th, that something crosses from the invisible into the visible, from the spiritual into the natural, from the promised into the delivered. Today you enter a divine miracle shift. And I need you to understand what that means before we go any further. Because a divine miracle shift is not just a blessing. It is not just a breakthrough. It is not just an answer to a prayer. A divine miracle shift is a complete repositioning of your life. A total realignment of your circumstances, your relationships, your resources, your identity, and your access. A miracle shift does not just improve where you are. It moves you somewhere entirely different. It does not just open a door. It relocates you to a building with doors you have never even seen before. This is what is starting today. Not eventually, not someday. Today, May 28th. And by the time this shift is complete, by the time what God is doing right now finishes doing what it is doing, you will not recognize the landscape of your life. Not because it will be unrecognizable in a frightening way, but because it will be so much better, so much fuller, so much more aligned with what you were created for, that the version of your life you have been living until now will feel like a rough draft, a practice run, a preparation season for the real thing that is starting today. Now let me tell you why today. Why May 28th specifically? Why not a month ago? Why not next week? Why this exact date is the day the shift begins. God does not operate randomly. God does not release miracles on a whim or according to a schedule that has no logic to it. God operates according to a system of divine timing that is so precise, so intentional, so perfectly calibrated that when you look back on it after the fact, you will see that every single detail was intentional. Every delay had a purpose. Every closed door was protection. Every season of waiting was preparation. And the moment the shift begins, the moment the breakthrough arrives, it is always exactly on time. Not a day early, not a day late. Exactly when it was always supposed to happen. May 28th is your exactly on time. This is the date God marked. This is the moment God circled. This is the day God always knew was going to be the beginning of everything that changes. And here is why it could not have happened before today. Because you were not ready before today. Not in the way that means you were lacking or insufficient or not good enough, but in the way that means the preparation was not complete. The foundation was not yet solid enough to hold what God is about to build on it. The roots were not yet deep enough to sustain what God is about to grow. The character that God needed you to develop, the faith that God needed you to build, the wisdom that God needed you to accumulate through the seasons of waiting and testing and not yet, that character and that faith and that wisdom had to reach a certain level before the shift could begin. And they reached that level, recently, quietly, without you even noticing. In the middle of your last difficult season, in the middle of the waiting that felt like abandonment, in the middle of the silence from heaven that felt like maybe God had forgotten you, something in you solidified, something in you settled, something in you stopped demanding that God work on your timeline and started trusting that God was working on his. And that surrender, that quiet act of trust in the dark, that was the final thing God was waiting for. And he saw it. and he said, Now is the time. Now the shift begins. And I want to say something about the people who are watching this and thinking, I have been waiting so long that I am not sure I believe this anymore. The ones who have heard messages like this before. The ones who have believed for a breakthrough before and watched it not come. The ones who are carrying not just hope, but also the scar tissue of hope that was disappointed. If that is you, I want to speak directly to you for a moment. Your doubt is not disqualifying you. Your scar tissue is not blocking the shift. Your weariness is not a sign that you have somehow lost your position in what God is doing. In fact, the weariness you are feeling right now, the exhaustion of believing for so long without seeing, that is one of the most powerful signs that the shift is imminent. Because you do not feel that kind of tired in the middle of a season. You feel that kind of tired at the end of one. And the end of your waiting season is May 28th. So even if you cannot fully believe right now, even if the hope feels fragile, even if you are watching this with one part of you reaching for the word and another part of you protecting yourself from another disappointment, let me believe it for you today. Let this message carry the faith that yours cannot carry right now. Because God does not need your belief to be perfect. He just needs you to stay open. And you are here, you are watching, you are open, and that is enough. That is why God sent this to you today. This is the beginning, and that is May 28th. That is today. And that is May 28th. That is today. Now let me tell you something before I get into what this shift involves. Something that is going to confirm for you that this message was sent specifically to you. Because some of you are wondering, you are watching this and a part of you is hoping this is for you, but another part of you is not sure. Another part of you is thinking, maybe this is just a general message. Maybe this applies to everyone. Maybe I should not get too attached to the idea that this is specifically for me. So let me give you the signs. The specific signs that confirm you are the person God is entering into a divine miracle shift on May 28th. And if these signs describe you, if you recognize yourself in these descriptions, then you need to stop doubting and start receiving, because this is for you. Sign 1. You have been through a long season of feeling invisible. A season where your gifts were not recognized, your contributions were not acknowledged, your efforts were not rewarded. A season where you worked hard and prayed hard and trusted hard and nothing seemed to move. And you carried that invisibility quietly, without becoming bitter, without abandoning your faith, without stopping. You just kept going, in obscurity, in silence, in the place where nobody saw you but God. God saw you, every single day, in every moment of that invisible season. And May 28th is the day God ends your invisibility. The day God brings what was hidden into the light. The day God makes visible what has been working underground for so long. Sign 2. You have survived something that was meant to destroy you. A betrayal, a loss, a diagnosis. A failure so significant that most people would have used it as a reason to give up. And you did not give up. You did not understand why you were holding on when everything in your circumstances said let go. But something in you refused to quit. Something deeper than logic, deeper than emotion, deeper than the evidence around you kept you standing when you should have fallen. That something was God. And the survival was not an accident. And the endurance was not just your strength, it was preparation. God was building something in you through what you survived that you could not have built any other way. And the thing he was building, the character, the faith, the depth, is exactly what you need to carry the weight of what he is about to give you. The size of the miracle is proportional to the size of what you survived. And what you survived was massive. Sign 3. You have been carrying a dream that makes no sense given your current reality. Something you believe you are called to. Something you know in your spirit is coming, even when everything around you says it is impossible. And you have protected that dream. You have not let people talk you out of it. You have not let discouragement bury it. You have not let the gap between where you are and where the dream is kill your belief that it is possible. You have just held it, quietly, persistently, against all the evidence. That dream is not delusion. That dream is a prophecy. And May 28th is the day that prophecy begins to manifest. If those 3 signs describe you, this message is absolutely for you. This shift is yours. This is your moment. Receive it. Now let me tell you exactly what a divine miracle shift involves. I want you to know what to look for. I want you to recognize the components of this shift as they begin to manifest, so you do not miss what God is doing because you were waiting for it to look different. A divine miracle shift has 5 components, and all 5 of them are moving simultaneously. All 5 of them are activating at the same time, and together they create a transformation so complete, so thorough, so total, that nothing in your life remains untouched. Component 1 is the shift in your identity. Before your circumstances can change, before your resources can change, before your position can change, something inside you has to change. The way you see yourself has to shift. The story you tell yourself about who you are and what you deserve and what is possible for you has to be rewritten. And this is always the first component of a divine miracle shift, because God knows that if He changes your circumstances without first changing your identity, you will sabotage the new circumstances with the old mindset. You will receive the blessing and then unconsciously destroy it. You will walk through the open door and then find a way to walk back out. So component 1 is God rewriting your self-perception. And this happens quietly. You will not hear a dramatic voice. You will not have a vision. You will just notice, sometime today or in the next few days, that something feels different about how you see yourself. More solid, more certain, more settled. Like a question that has been circling in your mind for years has finally found its answer and gone quiet. Like a doubt that has been shouting at you has suddenly lost its voice. Like the version of you that was always second-guessing and shrinking and wondering if you were enough has stepped aside and let a quieter, more certain version of you take the lead. That is God shifting your identity, and it is the foundation everything else is built on. And I want to tell you something specific about what this identity shift feels like from the inside, because most people do not recognize it when it is happening. They expect a dramatic awakening, a sudden moment of total clarity and confidence, a feeling like they finally figured everything out. But that is not how God rewrites identity. God rewrites identity quietly, through small moments of courage, through tiny decisions to stop shrinking, through the accumulation of choosing, again and again and again, to act from faith instead of fear. And somewhere in that accumulation, somewhere in those repeated small choices, the identity shifts. The foundation changes, and what used to feel impossible starts feeling inevitable. What used to feel too big starts feeling exactly your size. What used to feel like something that happened to other people starts feeling like something that was always meant for you. That is where you are today, on the other side of the accumulation, on the other side of all the small choices that built the foundation. And God is saying, the foundation is ready, the identity is ready, the shift can begin. Component 2 is the shift in your discernment. When God is about to elevate you, when God is about to move you into new rooms and new circles and new levels of access and influence, He first sharpens your ability to see people clearly. Because the higher you go, the more important it becomes to know who belongs with you and who does not. The more valuable your time becomes, the more critical it is to recognize who is genuinely aligned with your purpose and who is just drawn to your energy without being sent by God to be part of your life. So in the next few days, you are going to start seeing people differently. People who you have been giving access to that God never authorized. You are going to feel a shift in your spirit every time you are around them. A quiet withdrawal. A subtle but unmistakable sense that this connection is costing you something it should not be costing you. And people who you have been underestimating, people who have been on the periphery of your life without you fully recognizing their value, you are going to start seeing them with new eyes. Recognizing what God placed in them. Recognizing why God put them in proximity to you. Recognizing that the connection you dismissed as casual was actually divinely assigned. And here's what this discernment shift is going to ask of you. It is going to ask you to trust what you feel over what you think. Because discernment lives in the body, not in the mind. Discernment is that gut feeling, that slight tightening in your chest, that quiet unease that has no logical explanation. And most people, because they cannot explain it logically, override it. They talk themselves out of what they feel. They listen to the facts instead of the signal. They give people the benefit of the doubt until the doubt becomes evidence. And by then, it is too late. The damage is done. But during this shift, you cannot afford to override your discernment. You need to trust the signal even before you have the evidence. You need to act on the feeling even before you can explain it. Because God is showing you things in advance. And advance information only helps you if you act on it while it is still advance. This shift in discernment is God protecting you as He elevates you. Because elevation without discernment is dangerous. And God is not going to expose you to the next level without first giving you the eyes to navigate it safely. Component 3 is the shift in your provision. This is the component most people are waiting for. The financial dimension of the divine miracle shift. And here is what I want you to understand about it. The provision that is coming is not just more money. It is a shift in your relationship with provision itself. A shift from scarcity thinking to abundance thinking. A shift from surviving to sustaining. A shift from just enough to more than enough. And the provision is going to come from a source that surprises you. God is not going to refill the containers you already have. God is going to give you new containers that you did not know existed. New streams, new channels, New avenues of income and resource and support that have nothing to do with the systems you have been trying to work within. Because the systems you have been working within were designed for a level of life that you are leaving behind. And the new level requires new systems, new networks, new sources. And I want to prepare you for what this feels like when it starts happening. Because it does not feel the way you imagine it will feel. You imagine it will feel like relief, like finally, the pressure is off, like a weight lifting. But in the first moments of new provision, it often feels disorienting, almost suspicious, because your nervous system is calibrated for scarcity. Your body has been living in the survival frequency for so long that when abundance starts flowing, it does not immediately feel safe. It feels too good. It feels like something is wrong, like this cannot last, like you should be bracing for the other shoe to drop. And that response is not weakness. It is just your nervous system catching up to what God is releasing. And the way you help it catch up is by choosing gratitude over anxiety every time the anxious thought comes. By saying, "This is real, this is mine, God is faithful," and letting your nervous system slowly learn that abundance is safe, that provision is trustworthy, that this is not a trick. So when the provision starts shifting, when the new streams start opening, let yourself receive, fully, without the guilt, without the suspicion, without the waiting for it to disappear. Just receive it. It was always meant for you. Component 4 is the shift in your timing. Everything that has felt slow, everything that has felt stuck, everything that has felt like it is taking too long, is about to accelerate. And I do not mean that things will feel slightly faster. I mean there is about to be a compression of time where months of progress happen in days, where what should have taken a year develops in weeks, where conversations that should take months to build happen in a single meeting, where opportunities that should require years of networking fall into your lap through a single connection at exactly the right moment. This acceleration happens because God is making up for the time the enemy stole, for every delay, for every detour, for every season where progress was slower than it should have been. God has a system of restoration that does not just give back what was lost, it gives back with multiplication. And the acceleration you are about to experience is that multiplication in action. And here is what this acceleration is going to feel like from the inside. It is going to feel like confirmation after confirmation after confirmation arriving in rapid succession. Like one thing clicks into place, and before you have even finished processing it, another thing clicks into place, and then another, and then another. And you will be standing in the middle of all this movement thinking, is this really happening? Is this real? Am I dreaming? You are not dreaming. This is God restoring what the enemy delayed, and the pace of the restoration is proportional to the length of the delay. You waited a long time, which means the restoration is going to be fast. Beautifully, breathtakingly, overwhelmingly fast. So when things start moving faster than you can keep up with, when opportunities start stacking on top of opportunities, when doors start opening behind doors, do not panic. Do not try to slow it down. Do not retreat to what was comfortable and familiar. Just keep moving. Keep saying yes. Keep stepping through every door that opens, because the acceleration is God's restoration at work. Component 5 is the shift in your authority. This is the one that most chosen ones do not expect. They expect the blessing, they expect the provision, they expect the open doors, but they do not expect the authority. The shift in how people respond to them, the shift in how much weight their words carry, the shift in how much influence they have in every room they enter. But authority is always part of a divine miracle shift, because God does not just change your circumstances, God changes your presence. He changes the atmosphere you carry. He changes the way people sense you before you even speak. There is something that happens when a person goes through a genuine divine miracle shift, something that cannot be manufactured or performed, where they walk into a room and the room shifts, where they speak and people lean in, where they show up and things change. And that authority is not arrogance, it is anointing, and it comes with the shift. And let me tell you specifically what this authority shift looks like in daily life. People who used to interrupt you will start letting you finish. People who used to dismiss your ideas will start writing them down. People who used to make you wait will start making time. People who used to speak over you will start deferring to you. Not because you demanded it, not because you asserted yourself, but because something changed in the frequency you carry, and they can feel it, even if they cannot name it. And this new authority is going to feel strange at first, because you have spent so long in rooms where your voice was minimized, that having it fully heard will feel foreign. You might even shrink from it. You might deflect the attention. You might downplay the influence because it feels safer to stay small. But do not do that. Do not shrink from what God is releasing. Do not retreat from the authority He is giving you, because that authority is not for your comfort, it is for your assignment. And the people God needs you to influence, the lives God needs you to impact, the work God needs you to do. All of it requires you to walk fully in the authority God is releasing on May 28th. So in the coming days, do not be surprised when people start responding to you differently. When people who ignored you start paying attention. When people who dismissed you start listening. When people who had no time for you suddenly find time. That is not them changing. That is your authority shifting. And it is part of what God is releasing today. Those are the 5 components of your divine miracle shift: identity, discernment, provision, timing, authority. All 5 activating simultaneously. All 5 building on each other. All 5 moving together to create a transformation so complete that 3 months from now, you will look back at May 28th and say, that was the day. That was when everything changed. Now I need to tell you what you must protect during this shift. Because shifts of this magnitude attract opposition. And the opposition does not come from strangers. It comes from people who are close to you. And understanding that ahead of time is the difference between walking through this shift smoothly and getting derailed at the most critical moment. The first thing you must protect is your peace. During a divine miracle shift, the enemy will send disruptions. Things designed to pull you out of the calm, settled, trusting posture that allows God to work. Arguments, unexpected bad news, provocations from people who seem to know exactly which button to push to get you out of alignment. And every time you react, every time you get pulled into drama, every time you let the disruption take you out of your peace, you slow the shift. You create friction in the mechanism God is using to move things into position. And let me tell you specifically what these disruptions are going to look like. They are not going to look like obvious attacks. They are going to look like normal life. A family member is going to say something that irritates you. A situation at work is going to demand your emotional energy. Someone you trusted is going to do something disappointing. And in isolation, each of these things is manageable. But the enemy is not going to send them in isolation. He is going to send them all at once, one after another, in rapid succession, designed to overwhelm you, designed to exhaust you, designed to make you feel like everything is falling apart just as God is about to put everything together. And here is what you need to know about that timing. The intensity of the attack is confirmation of the proximity of the breakthrough. The enemy does not attack this hard when nothing is happening. The enemy attacks this hard when he knows he is about to lose you to the next level. So when everything feels like it is hitting at once, when the disruptions are piling up and your peace feels impossible to maintain, remind yourself, this is the sign. This is the confirmation. The breakthrough is close enough that the enemy is panicking. So protect your peace at all costs this week. Not because bad things are not happening. They might be. Not because people are not being difficult. They might be. But because your peace is not dependent on your circumstances. Your peace is a choice. And during a divine miracle shift, choosing peace over reaction is one of the most powerful things you can do. The second thing you must protect is your focus. During a shift of this magnitude, distractions multiply. Your attention will be pulled in 20 directions simultaneously. Old situations will resurface, demanding resolution. Old relationships will reactivate, demanding your energy. Old patterns will return, dressed as new opportunities. And if you are not discerning, if you are not focused, you will spend the energy of your shift on things that have nothing to do with where God is taking you. And I want to name specifically the most dangerous distraction during a divine miracle shift. It is not an external disruption. It is an internal one. It is the temptation to go back and fix what you left behind, to resolve the relationships that ended, to make peace with the seasons you closed, to try to bring people with you who God has already shown you are not coming with you. And this temptation comes from a good place. It comes from loyalty, from love, from the part of you that does not want to leave anyone behind. But here is what you need to understand. Not everyone is meant to go where God is taking you, and trying to bring someone with you who is not assigned to your next level does not help them. It only delays you. And in delaying you, it delays everything God wants to do through you, including the impact you would eventually have on them from the elevated position God is moving you into. So let people be where they are. Trust God with the relationships that are not transitioning with you, and keep your focus on where God is taking you. That is your assignment in this season. And the third thing you must protect is your mouth. Do not announce this shift before it is visible. Do not testify about what God is doing before it is done. Do not tell people what is coming before it has arrived, because premature speaking creates interference. It invites other people's doubt into the process. It opens the shift to the weight of other people's unbelief. And what was moving smoothly suddenly hits resistance. Think about a seed. When a seed is planted and beginning to germinate, it is at its most vulnerable. It has not yet broken through the soil. It has not yet shown any visible evidence of life. And if you dig it up at that point to show people, if you pull it out of the ground to prove that something is happening, you kill it. You destroy the very thing you were trying to show. And the seed that was going to become something significant never gets the chance. Your shift is the seed right now. It is germinating. It is in the ground. It is alive and growing and moving toward the surface. But it has not broken through yet. And the most important thing you can do during the germination period is leave it alone. Let it do what it needs to do in the dark, underground, without the light of public attention disrupting the process. There will be time to show people what God grew, but that time is not now. That time is when it has broken through the surface and everyone can see it for themselves without you having to convince them of anything. So be quiet about what God is doing until what God is doing speaks for itself. Let the results be the announcement. Let the manifestation be the testimony. Let the shift itself tell the story. Now I want to tell you something about the people who have gone through divine miracle shifts before you. The chosen ones throughout history and throughout your own community who went through exactly what you are entering right now. Because their stories contain wisdom that will help you navigate what is coming. Every single person who went through a genuine divine miracle shift went through a moment of what I call the last test. A moment right at the edge of the breakthrough, right when the shift was about to manifest, right when everything was about to change, where one final, significant, deeply personal test arrived. Something that required them to choose, one more time, between trusting God and trusting what they could see. Between holding on to the promise and retreating to what felt safe. Between walking through the door and turning back. And everyone who made it through, everyone who received the full expression of their divine miracle shift, passed that last test. Not because they were strong, not because they were perfect, not because they did not feel afraid. They did. But because in the moment of the test, they chose God over fear. They chose the promise over the evidence. They chose forward over back. And here is what that last test is going to look like for you. It is going to look like something familiar returning. Something from your past that represents what you had before, what was comfortable before, what was safe before. And it is going to come at the moment when the shift is most demanding, when the new level feels most overwhelming, when the unfamiliarity of where God is taking you feels most intimidating. And the old thing, the familiar thing, is going to feel like relief, like an exit. Like a way to step off the tightrope and back onto solid ground. But it is not solid ground. It is a trap. It is the enemy offering you the comfort of the past to keep you from the glory of the future. And you have to recognize it for what it is. And you have to say no. One more time. One final time. With everything in you. No, I am not going back. I am going forward. I am entering my divine miracle shift. And nothing from the past has the power to pull me back. And when you say that no, when you pass that last test, something extraordinary happens. The shift accelerates. What was going to take weeks happens in days. What was going to take months happens in weeks. Because passing the last test is like removing the final obstruction from a river that has been dammed. And the moment the dam breaks, everything that was held back rushes forward at once. All the provision, all the favor, all the open doors, all the confirmation, all of it rushing forward simultaneously. That is what is on the other side of your last test. And that last test is coming very soon. Maybe today, maybe in the next few days, but it is coming. And now you know what it is. And now you can recognize it when it arrives. And now you can pass it. That is your day, May 28th, the beginning of your divine miracle shift. The day everything changes. The day God moves you from where you have been to where you were always meant to be. Receive it, protect it, walk in it. Right, my shift starts today. In the comments if you are claiming this word. I read every single one. Subscribe and turn on notifications. God is not finished, and you need to know what comes next.